Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. Why studies on women's preferences should be taken with a grain of salt. Now, this is interesting because a lot of times men will trying to think, well, women want money, they want this, everything but about what women really want about sex. Well, actually, yeah, those studies are saying, well, they really want somebody to be emotional and all of that. Take them with a grain of salt because the women could be honest in it or they might not be honest. See, understand something with women. It's very important for them to present a certain image to the public. Very important because they realize, if they totally honest with a man, say, oh yeah, I slept with 30 guys, the guy might not want him as much. Or they have some sexual fetish or something, the guy might not want them. So they present a certain image to a man publicly, but it could have something in it. That's why I say, okay, they said that, okay, all right. And the reason why I'm saying that is just a perspective I've had just in dealing with a lot of women over the years. Because you get a situation where they're saying something publicly, like, a study or even in a group where it's a mixed crowd, but then privately they say something differently. Indeed, I thought about this because I had a hater who actually had an issue with that because I said, yeah, women said this and that. And it's like, well, how come he says, women, be cautious about what women say publicly, take it with a grain of salt. Let me explain to you. What women say in private is actually a more of an indication of what they truly feel about someone, particularly if they talk about certain things privately with a man present. And in general, that's with sex. That's with sex, particularly if they're around select men. Let me tell a story. I've told this story a long time ago. And there's someone who will comment on different videos. I'm not going to say which videos. I haven't seen a comment by him in a while, but he was actually an eyewitness to this. Now, there was a situation, I was doing a presentation specifically about Mr. Goodbar, specifically, and, women going for that guy just for sex. And it was an interesting presentation because it was mostly women in there and they were awfully quiet, except for one. And she was arguing with me to death. I mean, she was arguing. And one of her main points to argue was like, we don't get with a guy just for sex. We wouldn't have that. Now she said that publicly. Privately, when it was outside of this seminar and it was just me, her, and a few of her close friends, she was like, damn right, she got a young, muscular, young boy for sex. She just didn't want to say it in there. And she said the reason why those women were so quiet was because there were potential husbands in there, Now, let me be clear on that. The best way a woman is being honest is if sex comes into the conversation, particularly if she is honest about what she will do sexually. Once she starts saying, oh yeah, she loves giving head. When she's saying that, there's more of a likelihood she's being honest because at the end of the day, you never know. But there's more of a likelihood. And especially if you're in one of those situations where you're around a group of women and they're comfortable with you, particularly if they see you as select. Oh yeah, they'll tell you what they do. They'll tell you, but it's important where. Because I've seen so many occasions where women have said one thing publicly and do something else privately. I've experienced that. Indeed, I've had a couple of occasions when it was like, oh, if you see me in public, act like you don't know me. It is what it is. But you see, here's the problem, and this is why I'm talking about this in general. You got to take it with a grain of salt because many men will see the public stuff and think that's it. And then if they come to a situation where they find out that it isn't true, what they get, what they call it, red pill rage. They get mad. They find out something. Or here's a common situation. That one woman, that goody girl that they're going for. And she said, no, I never do that. I'll never do that. Oh, I got a story with that. They'll say, oh, I don't do stuff like that. And then they find out that that woman does do stuff like that. She's all freaky. Like, here's a situation somebody told me about, and they were at a certain school. I ain't gonna give too much about it, but it was this woman he was really feeling. He was really feeling the woman. And she was, prim and proper and everything. But then there was a party he went to at this house, and he happened to step into one of the rooms, and he saw this same prim and proper woman having a train ran on her voluntarily. See, here's the thing. Remember, I've talked about the sexual shadow world. The sexual shadow world where women express their sexual nature freely. The closer you can come to that shadow world, the closer you come to seeing a woman's true nature. And the more that you can even fit into that shadow world, a woman is more likely to be honest with you. But if you're not anywhere near that, she don't see any sexual energy or anything like that, oh, she will be quiet. She will be quiet. She will be Miss Innocent, But if you really understand the shadow world, then you see them there, then you can start comparing them. It's like, okay, they saying this. And sometimes if you have enough experience, you can take a look at her. She may have all that church stuff on or something like that, but she got that lace underwear. She got that thong on or something. But whatever the case, the whole point of this video is to say, you got to take it with a grain of salt. And let me hit it from another angle. I've worked. Yes, I've had 1,000 jobs. No, I have. Just real quick, I'm one of those people that has always worked part-time. There's been times in my life I had my business and 2 jobs, a full-time job, part-time job and stuff. One of my, you can call it a weakness or strength depending on your point of view. I'm a workaholic. I've worked in market research. And one of the things there is that you have plenty of people who will say whatever just to make money or to tell you what you want to hear. And indeed, because of how the questions are even presented, they're going to get a certain answer. And some people figure that out. Think of the same thing with women, even if they've taken some of these studies and engage in. They're going to say whatever is necessary. Whatever's necessary. Now, they could be correct or they could be incorrect. That's an important thing to understand. You got to take it with a grain of salt. See, to see a woman, here's a general thing. If you really want to understand a woman, you either need to be engaged, you got to be in a position where you can see their sexual face. You can see it, you can encounter it. They're honest with you about what their preferences are. And it's generally you need to be select for it, because generally if they see you non-select, they ain't gonna be honest with you at all. They'll tell you whatever they think you want to hear. But if you're, you open to their sex, no matter what they say, they can say, hey, they had a train ran on them and stuff. You can be like, Then they tell you more. In fact, they tell you some stuff. I've had women tell me how they cheat. If anything that's kind of go against nature or, what's the general narrative, that's when you perk up and oh, okay. And you just sit there and just listen. But anything public, you really gotta look into that. You really gotta look into that. And like I said, grain of salt. It could have something there, but I would say this in general. And even when they tell you stuff in private, listen, but verify. Verify. Pay attention to the actions. Is what they're saying matching up with their actions? Also, too, and this is a little bit harder. Learn to read body language. There's a certain way you can, and that would be difficult to teach. That's a little bit tougher. That's not something I could tell you. But I've worked in professions where I've actually had some training reading body language. So that's something else. But just pay attention. When they telling you something, look at their body language. You know, how they stand and how their eyes are looking and all of that. All right. So anyway, that's it for now. Just, I say this, just anything public, indeed, take it with a grain of salt. Indeed, I'm going to tell you how deep it is. This goes beyond women. That's why I always say with everything I talk about, go verify, go check it out for yourself. I don't have any fear of that. Or anybody said, go try it out. You know, trust but verify. I said listen at first but verify, but trust but verify. It's like, oh, they say, okay, let me go check it out, because that's what I do. All right. So anyway, that's all I got for this one. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace and blessings.